this episode, I interview a fellow Paisan who became a local legend and then became a national legend, being the quarterback to lead the Rams to their very first Super Bowl. I introduce to you Vince Ferragamo. Vince Ferragamo, I can't thank you enough for being on the Hound of Heaven program. We're really excited for you to be here. You are our first NFL football player, so we're really excited, a fellow Paisan as well. So I'm going to be asking you some questions about your faith and football and your foundations and how God's worked in your life. So I kind of want to know first, how was the Ferragamo house when you were a child in the Catholic faith? What did you guys do that was so your parents gave you? What kind of faith did your parents give you when you were a kid?
Well, thanks for having me on the show, Father Darrin. It's a pleasure to be here. I think yes, I think everything stems from when your childhood and your upbringing. We have a really close knit family, Italian family. I was full blooded. My mom's family, and we're from Naples, near Naples, and Avellino. My dad's family, the Ferragamo family, we're Benito Avellino, and so they came to this country and I was born here. My brothers were all born in Boston and growing up from the East Coast, and they moved. My dad was in the war, World War II. And then after the war, it was a funny story. They moved to California. And I had lots of aunts and uncles because they were from big families. So it's all been about family. And every time we would, and as an Italian,
Right.
growing up as a kid, every Sunday,
Yep.
you go to grandma's house, Nonno and Nonna's house.
Right.
And Anna Paziali was my grandmother's name. She's a beautiful gal. And they'd cook big dinner, and then after dinner, and you'd sit at the table for hours, and then you'd go in the living room and listen to a lot of the Italians' music and, them telling jokes and that kind of thing. And that's the way it was.
Right.
All week long, it was always constant instruction.
Right.
And you had to be attentive. And, you always ate. Now, my mom made meals. My mom was a great cook. But growing up Italian, it's all about the food.
Right.
Wine wasn't that big a deal. We didn't really. You don't drink wine. You never get drunk at a table
Right.
in an Italian heritage, as that's not a good thing. So, but my mom was a great cook. She used to cook pasta every day. So my dad, that's all he would eat is pasta. So when he didn't cook pasta, or she didn't cook pasta, he was upset and he'd have a fit. She goes, Vinny, he was a Vince too. And it's, I gotta have a balanced diet for the kids, they have to eat different foods. So, but such a great cook. But one of my favorite meals was lasagna. My mom made lasagna. But
Were the noodles fresh? Did she make them fresh?
oh my gosh, the lasagna, no, she didn't make the lasagna noodles. She went to the Italian store, A1 Imports in San Pedro. I grew up in Wilmington, California. And she bought all authentic style food. And we'd have all the cheeses and everything. But she made it. But we used to bottle our own tomatoes.
Oh, interesting.
My dad would go to Fullerton and buy crates and crates of old tomatoes that they were just going to throw out. And he'd bring them back and he'd boil them. And they would make tomato sauce with the grapes, put them through the grinder, and then they bottle them. And my dad would put them, sterilize
Right.
them in bins and trash cans, and then we would put them under the house in the cellar, so they would age that way. And my mom would pick them out, and they would use it. I mean, very simple, made food from whatever she had, but her cooking was great. But I'm telling you, the lasagna was outstanding. And so were the ravioli. And so to this day, I still try to make ravioli like my mom. But, they don't give you the recipes.
They know you put this and put that, but they don't tell you how much of this or how much of that. It's like never. So, what was your parish when you were growing up as a kid?
We were at St. Peter and Paul on Op Street, and that was our parish. And every Sunday morning, my mom would wait, and then when we came home, we'd have breakfast, but she would be preparing breakfast. My dad would drive us to church, and and then he'd come pick us up. And we would do that every Sunday
So your
without
parents dropped
fail.
you off.
They dropped me off, and then they would prepare the food. And then when I came back, now they were also Italian, and they were also very religious as well. Um, but they wanted their kids to have the faith,
Right.
and they wanted them to be believe, and that's what we were raised, and that was the primary goal for us.
Did you go to Catholic school?
I didn't go to Catholic, but I went to catechism when they have
Gotcha.
on Saturdays, and I did that for a while. But I received all the sacraments, obviously, and then the church. We did our confessions, and we did First Holy Communion. And that.
Do you
kind of
remember
thing.
your
So,
first confession?
yeah, I remember learning it, and still to this day, I have to still recite it. Because you have to go to confession.
No, did you remember your experience when you went on your first confession?
Yeah,
Not,
it was
not
probably
everybody does. Some people do, some people don't.
Yeah, not really. I mean, I would think that even if it was what is it, a venial sin,
Yeah.
that's, you still have to confess it. I mean, but
Right.
later I found out, mortal sins need to be confessed.
Right.
But, I would try to lead a, quality life. And
Good.
so I wouldn't have to be, going to confession every week. So, but now that I've married an Italian woman, so our kids grew up with the Catholic faith, and so do my grandkids.
Oh, that's great. Now, when you were a kid, being in your family, is there any like devotions that your family would do before, like either a funeral, a wedding, or a Sunday gathering? Is there some type of a religious practice that you and your family had when you were kids, or even as in junior high?
Not any spiritual movement kind of thing. We obviously, all the sacraments, all the holidays were very special. I mean, Christmas was always special for us. Things during the year, if it was a holy day of obligation, we tried to, that would be something we would have to pay attention to. But I think that there wasn't anything in particular that stood out in my mind. My parents grew up in Boston, and the religion was our backbone of our family,
Right.
and our entire family was all Catholic. So
Did any of your relatives ever become priests or nuns or brothers?
no, not our immediate family. No, I don't recall any, and I have lots of cousins and nieces, and but there's none that I know of that went into the Catholic religion to become a priest.
Now, your mom
Or
was
none.
from Salem and your dad was from Boston, you said?
Revere, Boston.
Revere, Boston.
Uh-huh.
So how did they meet then if they were not really in the same area?
Well, my mom was from a family of 9.
Oh, wow.
And a lot of aunts, and I had a few uncles. They're all from Boston back there. My dad was from 16.
Wow.
My dad left the home at an early age, and when he was 8 years old, him and his buddy they wanted to move out, and he came back 3 days later, and my grandmother didn't even know he was gone. There were so many kids around. So, but he. But everybody knows one another. In those days, my uncle Tony and my dad were best friends, and Tony was married to Raffaella, which is my mom's sister, and they used to perform on stage. They were very musically inclined, and my one day, Raffi told Stella, my mom, she says, Stella, you need to hook up with Vinny. I mean, because Vinny is Tony's friend, they're buddies. So my grandparents owned a grocery store in downtown Boston.
Okay.
It's for vegetables and fruits and stuff. And they used to work there. And so they needed help, obviously. And so my dad was around, and the boys told my grandfather, which is Miguel, Mike, give Vinny a job, let him do something. I can't give him a job. He doesn't know how to work. He doesn't work. But my dad, he was like more of a, he was involved in different things.
Right.
He used to ride at the racetrack. He used to ride horseback, and he used to work out the horses early in the mornings at 6 a.m. to go to the racetrack. And all my uncles, they were trainers at the horse track. So at Suffolk Downs in Boston. So, and then my grandfather owned great horses too. So, but he ended up getting a job there. And then my mom and dad kicked it off, and then they eventually got married. But it was, you know, it was just a kind of a family get together all the time. Everybody was very close, and to that day, my aunt and Tony, they always lived right next to my grandparents. When
Oh,
they
wow.
moved back from Boston, they moved to California as well, and they settled in Torrance. And I was born at Torrance Memorial,
Oh, wow.
and Southern California boy. My brothers and my sister were born back in Boston, so we all came back in '49.
Wow.
I was born in '54, so it kind of tells you how old I am.
Now, going back to your first communion experience, do you remember uh, what the emotional experience of your first communion?
You know, it's probably such a long time ago. I don't really recall that as well, but I do recall when my grandson got his first Holy Communion,
Mm.
and it was here in in Orange County, and we went to Antonello's restaurant after the ceremony. And it was a beautiful ceremony, and to me, it's beautiful. First Holy Communion is one of the great sacraments, you know, that you get. Not only the baptism, I remember them getting baptized, and we
Right.
went to. He's from his dad's from Mexico. My wife did a internship down in Mexico. That's where she went to medical school and came back here. She's a pediatrician now, but um, it was such a blessing to have that, see them experience it. And
Right.
I would think I was more proud, and it meant more to me to see them get First Holy Communion than me personally, because
Right.
I was so young, I don't remember,
Right.
you know, what was going on. But it was a great time. We had a great day, and then my granddaughter, she was got her First Holy Communion
Wow.
too just recently. So she's 8, and my grandson's 10. So
Oh, wow. So you have two grandchildren?
I have 4. My other daughter, Jenna, who's the youngest, she's in Oregon, and she has 2 little boys. One's 1.5, 2, and the other one's just turning 1.
Oh, wow. So you have a
So
few
there's
more
2.
years before they get their first
Yeah,
communion. That's-
yeah, that's right. We have a little more time.
So tell me how God worked in your life regarding you meeting your wife and
Oh,
your how did God work in there?
well, that's interesting that you should ask that question, because I went to Cal Berkeley. That's where I was started out in my college career, and played there for 2 years, and then we got put on probation, and I was seeing, you know, I wasn't a Romeo type of guy, but I was out there, I was a quarterback, and so I had a girlfriend there,
Mhm.
and I shifted my allegiance to Nebraska. I went to Nebraska, and there I met a Josephine Scarpello, who I was set up on a blind date with her. This is how we met. Because one of the guys on the football team, she asked, "Hey, I want to meet the Italian stallion from California." So, she happens to be Italian. She's Sicilian. Okay. Her dad was a wrestler,
Oh,
Joe Scarpello, and he wrestled professionally for 40 years. And he knew a lot of great athletes. And he traveled the country, wrestling, and with a wrestling career. So it was fun. It was fun. And Ilio DiPaolo was awesome in Buffalo. I got traded. Well, long story. When
yeah,
I played ball, I got traded. I can tell you that story later. But ran into their family, and it's just like they were family to me.
right.
Because they grew up. They knew my father-in-law. But I guess as things would have it, by fate, that we actually met on that date, and we became closer after a while. We kind of do things, but we had a lot in common, and
Hmm.
I think maybe it was a blessing. But I was still getting letters from my other association in California,
Right.
and but maybe what triggered it all, which was a neat sign, was that the athletic department at University of Nebraska, the media director, he tried to arrange a time where they were having an event for Miss Nebraska.
Hmm.
Was supposed to hook up with the quarterback, and they were going to do something. They had some function, and there was a letter on my door that she was presented, that I was supposed to meet her. Well, my wife, or no, she wasn't my wife at the time,
Right.
but Jody,
Yeah.
we call her Jody. She intercepted that letter. She took it off the door, and she never showed it to me, and so it just never happened. But it was just meant to be because she was sharp. She was a journalistic major, and she was very sharp, but
And
just
shrewd.
very shrewd, very shrewd. Yeah, don't.
She was
Yeah,
smart. She was smart.
right. Don't cross a Sicilian girl.
No, no,
Okay?
she's no,
Don't
no, no. You do
you
not
never
want
wanted to. So it was meant to be. She was raised Catholic as well, and so. But I think it's wise for people when they get together, an association, for people to uh, have similar backgrounds,
right.
because we understand one another. If we get into a fight, if we have a quarrel, it's normal. It's not the end, it's just something that we do.
Right.
That's how we express ourselves.
Yes.
So
What they say when Italians are talking loud,
yeah,
we're not angry, we're just talking.
or using your hands.
Yeah, yeah.
Come on,
Forget
it's
about
like
it.
yeah, forget about it. Yeah.
So you see God using your wife and her shrewdness to bring you together. Are
Yes.
you glad that she did that? Are you glad that
Oh,
she
for
yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, because opposites do sometimes attract, and
So how's she the opposite of you then?
well, I'm very introverted. I mean, I'm just like into myself, and she's more.
Extroverted.
She can listen to three conversations at once. She's out there,
Right.
but and so I think we're both compatible in that way. I think we both help each other out and make each other stronger. And I watched that movie Ronald Reagan. You saw
Right.
that movie. And Nancy Reagan, I mean, he was married first time, and it just didn't work out with his first marriage, but the second marriage, and I think a lot of credit really goes to Nancy,
Right.
that the man he became, because you have to have someone in your corner that believes in you
Right.
and will work with you and to support you.
Right.
And she did so many great things to keep him focused and keep him just on top of it.
So did Jody, was she kind of like your Nancy? Was she kind of like your
Yeah.
backbone, your spiritual backbone? Did she pray for you, or
Oh,
tell you
sure.
what was she praying for at times for you when you first got married? What was it she was praying for you?
I don't know if she wouldn't openly pray. I mean, but I think internally, I think it was common belief
Mm.
that you believe in God, you believe that whatever will be, but you have to put your hard work, and nothing comes easy,
Mm.
and you work for whatever you do. And there's a sacrifice that you have to pay, and she's paid it. She grew up a very modest family, as I did, had nothing,
Right.
and they lived in a really small home in Omaha, Nebraska, and they traveled around. And her dad was a professional wrestler, was a phenomenal athlete, big time champion at University of Iowa, and wrestled in the Olympics in
that's
1948.
Wow.
So he was, and so you don't want to kind of cross her because she has some strength, some genetic strength. Let's put it that way.
So she was a very
that
strong Italian woman in your background.
strong-minded, but also physically strong.
Yeah, yeah. She didn't want to mess with her.
No, you don't want to. No.
So when you're, I'm bringing up the Rams only because the Rams was
Mhm.
your first team, correct? Or was it-
Yes,
yeah.
I was drafted by the Rams in 1977. Correct.
So what are you praying for during that draft when you're being drafted to the Rams? When you're in the, I don't know how it was back in the '70s. Now it's a
Yeah.
big deal. They have the big
Yes.
Vegas thing. It's overblown, whatever. But
Right.
back then, what are you doing on that draft day? What are you praying for? What's your family doing with you?
That's a good question, because on draft day, you have all these predictions, and people think, oh, you're going to go in the first, second round. First, second round came by, and I wasn't drafted. So I said, well, maybe this is not meant to be. Maybe I have to move on. I have maybe just get ready for a career in medicine. I was a pre-med student.
Mm.
I did go to medical school my first year, but I thought that, well, I'll just go work out, just get my mind off this thing. And so I came back, and I got a call from Don Klosterman in the fourth round, early in the fourth round, and said, welcome. And Chuck Knox was on the phone. Welcome. We're glad to have you as a Los Angeles Ram. And I got a chance to go back home because I was in Nebraska at the time. And so things worked out. We were not married at the time. That was in 1977. And then actually the next year I left to go to California, and Jody was finishing up in Nebraska. I was a rookie that year, and I made the team. And then the following year, 1978, um, she decided to come to California, and I went back to medical school. So, we were pretty close. And I said, "Are you going to come back to Omaha?" She goes, "No, I'm not going back to Omaha. I'm staying in California." So she had a will, but
She was willing it to.
she's willing not to travel with me around.
Right.
So she was getting ready for her own career in journalism, and she was going to go to either law school or she was going to do something. But obviously, she wanted to be with me. But if it wasn't going to work out, it wasn't going to work out. And I think you just have to just play your cards the way they're dealt. And so I went back to Omaha to Creighton Medical School for a semester. And then my third year, I came back. And then she was going to, then I was going to go back to medical school. No, I'm not going. He says, if we're not going to get married, that's fine. So it was kind of ultimatum.
Right.
Either we're really get married or we're not.
So are you with the Rams and you're still going to college too at the same time?
In the off season, I
Gotcha.
went back to Omaha,
For a semester.
Nebraska for a semester, and
Oh,
then
that's
the next year I came to UCI and went to medical school at UCI in the off season. But that year we went to the Super Bowl that year, so in the third year. So
That is so funny that you're still going to college
Yeah.
and playing professional sports at the same time.
yeah,
So
yeah.
are you married? When do you get married then? Before or after the Super Bowl?
Before the Super Bowl, we got married in July 6th, 1979. I went to the Super Bowl in 79, 80 in that January,
Yes.
December, January. And we got married, and it was no really honeymoon because I had training camp.
Yeah.
So we went back to Omaha, got married at St. John's Cathedral, and had the reception, everything there, and then trucked back to California and get ready to go to training camp. So I went to training camp, and we postponed our honeymoon to Acapulco when the off season, when the season was over. That was kind of fun. So, but with that year, we went to the Super Bowl. So
It was a good year. You got married and you went to the Super Bowl.
yes,
that year.
yeah, it was a big year in
So
1979. Yeah.
what parish were you going to when you were with the Rams then? What church were you going to when you were with the Rams?
Let's see, St. John's Cathedral, I think, St. John Newman. It was
Okay.
in Irvine.
Oh, Irvine. Okay.
Yeah,
so
it was in Irvine.
Yeah.
And,
I don't think it's a cathedral, but yeah, you're at the
yeah, it was like at a gymnasium.
Exactly. Exactly. It's a
Until
little
they
bit,
built the
it's a bit
church.
nicer now, but yeah.
Right, yeah. And so that's where we went. And so, because our first home was in Irvine, we bought our first home in Irvine.
That's great.
And then we moved to Orange in 1979, or 1985. We moved to Orange, 1985.
When Pat Hayden goes down, what game or did you step in? Do you remember what game, what week that was?
Yeah, I think the year. I think you're talking about the year we went to the Super Bowl.
Right.
So Pat Hayden broke his pinky finger, I think, in Seattle, and
Was it preseason or during the season?
it was during the season.
Gotcha.
It was like the fourth or fifth game, and I had some pretty good preseason. In those days, preseason was a big time.
Right.
We played. Everybody played in preseason, and I was having a decent preseason. Let's put it that way. And people saw what I could do, and I started to get accepted by the players. And it's a team game,
Right.
And the players really, they don't make the call. They don't decide who's going to play. The coaches do, but they know who should be playing.
Right.
And so I put my time in, and then that year he got hurt. And ironically, about the third or fourth game, we played Dallas in Dallas, and they took Pat out at the end of the game, and they put me in, and I go in the game, and we finish the game. I end up breaking my hand in that game. This is before he got hurt. So I'm out, and I'm sitting in the locker room with my head down in this stadium
Right.
at Irving, Texas. And I had an old coach come to me who came to that game, John Matisich,
Oh.
and he's Greek. And he was our weight training coach at Banning High School. And you could hear a pin drop in that locker room. It was so quiet because we got killed. It was like 33 to 0, 33 to 3. And so here I am with a broken hand. I just get the results back, and I'm shaking my head, looking down. I says, "John, I don't think I'm made out for this. I think it's not going to work because, I'm putting my time in. I probably should be playing more. I'm not playing now. I get in, and finally I break my hand at the end of a game. So now I'm out." And he says, put his hand around me, and he says, "Look, things are going to improve. They're going to get better. So that little inspirational, just a nod, say, hey, it's gonna happen, was all you really needed.
Do you feel like that was a
Yeah.
God moment for you?
I think it was, because in that same stadium, I'll tell you, we went back there 8 weeks later, and we talked about Billy Waddy making a catch.
Yeah.
And Tom Landry was the coach, and that was my first year to play. I was only playing maybe 3 or 4 games prior to that, and we made big plays through the air, and we had to come from behind to win that game. And there was a spiritual moment, I'll tell you, that nobody can explain,
Right.
that miraculously happened. And you've seen Super Bowl after Super Bowl, great
Yeah.
plays. How
Yeah.
about the immaculate reception?
Yeah.
With Terry
Franco,
Bradshaw,
yeah,
Franco
yeah,
picking
yeah.
that
Come on,
ball up.
that's ridiculous.
That's never going to happen. Against that Oakland Raider team, they had that game. The Dallas Cowboys had this game. But we threw that ball. I threw that ball. They were in a prevent defense. There's no way that ball should have made it through there.
I still remember that
And
catch.
someone was standing by my side to help me throw that ball. You don't understand. You can't explain, but he was there.
You felt like your guardian angel just helped you throw that ball at the right
Oh,
spot?
For sure. For sure. It happened. And it was miraculously caught by Billy, and he went for the touchdown. And then sitting on the sideline, and Terry, that was Roger Staubach. They were going to come from behind. They've come from behind all the time with less than a minute and a half to go in the game. Plenty of time for them to go down and kick a field goal. It was 21-19. They only needed a field goal. And we were praying, and let's hold them. Our defense held them. And we were able to win that game. We went on to play in the Super Bowl. Now, Super Bowl, we didn't have the same luck, but
at least you got there.
But we were there, and it's just
It was a home game for
matter
you guys too. 'cause
what happens.
I think it was at the Rose Bowl.
It was at the Rose Bowl, and
Right.
that was a dream come true, because as a kid growing up in Southern California, you want to play in the Rose Bowl.
Yeah.
And so we actually played the Super Bowl in the Rose Bowl, second largest crowd in the history of the Super Bowl game.
That was such.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember watching that game. Like, oh, my team. Well, you probably don't know this, but a cousin of mine married a guy named Cody Jones.
Oh yes.
And they're
She's
still married.
Italian.
Yeah, Nina. So,
Nina, right?
yeah. So she was married to. still
Cody's a
is.
great
Still-
guy.
still-
Yeah, they're still married.
right down the street from us from Edison. High
Oh, great
School.
player. He was in the Super Bowl game,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
him and we had a great defense. And defenses win
Yeah,
championships.
yeah.
And it really is, because the offense can score.
Offense wins game, defense wins championships.
They do.
Yeah. Yeah.
They do, and that's what happened.
Yes, and
Yeah.
so that's interesting. You actually felt God's presence on that
Oh,
pass.
for sure.
Yeah, I
Without a
don't
doubt.
think I've ever heard that before. So that's
Oh, it's just like, you can go through that. I mean, at my age, a young age, and with that pressure, and didn't feel anything. It was like I was lifted off the ground. Somebody was carrying me around. That game.
so. What's your spiritual take then when the Rams go and they lose the Super Bowl? But do you feel like God, you let me down, or
No.
What are you feeling then?
No, I mean, you're dejected because you gave it everything you had. I mean, that team had 13 Hall of Famers.
Yeah, I mean,
We had 2.
yeah,
13 Hall of Famers. That was the best team of all.
yeah,
And for us to go toe to toe with them and to make it close, and probably had a chance to win it, we had things just go off our fingertips in that
Right.
game. A couple chances in the end zone, we dropped the ball, and but we don't blame anybody. We had chances on defense,
Right.
for interceptions, a return for touchdowns. It didn't happen. It was just the way it was supposed to turn out.
yeah,
And God has a way. Why do your parents go? Why do they go so soon?
yeah,
You ask these questions, but this is the plan,
right.
and everybody has a plan. So this is what we.
So there's no like, oh God, how dare you make me? You just happy for the experience.
Because it also, maybe it was a way for him to say that, hey, you have to work harder. You got to keep searching for more.
Mm.
This is not, even if you win, there's more left. You have to do more,
Right.
and keep improving. And that's what I look back at some of the careers that were Tom Brady, for example. I mean, he, after winning Super Bowl after Super Bowl, he always played with a chip on his shoulder because
Right.
he was drafted 7th round.
Yeah.
And they
Almost the
didn't
last quarterback.
Yeah, they didn't
drafted.
believe in him. They didn't. And see, they still don't believe in me. And that's the encouragement. That's
Right.
the drive
Right.
that you have. And that's the drive that the Lord gives us all. you have to have drive or you can't succeed, you know.
So, when you're raising your kids after
Mhm.
your career, what's the spiritual life like with your kids with you now that you have your first child as a
As a pediatrician now.
pediatrician?
Yeah, yeah, Vanessa. I have
Vanessa,
Vanessa, Kara, and Jenna, and they're all a blessing,
yeah.
all three girls. I didn't have any boys. And actually, I call my wine that we make today Caressa J for Kara, Vanessa, and Jenna.
Oh,
It's a super Tuscan. I grow it here in Orange County. But it's always been, a big part of our life.
mm,
Um, and they believe it. And it's a belief that, stems from within, and it's a traditional thing that, and they received, and they hopefully will raise their kids Catholic as well.
right. So,
And my middle daughter's not married. I
okay.
mean, it's a blessing to have her. She still lives at home with us,
Oh,
but
great.
my oldest is
Typical
married.
Italian, right? How the kids stay
Yeah,
at home.
always. Yeah, I was telling Carrie, my auntie Raffi was always close to my grandparents, so there's always one that's going to be that way. And so, but yeah, and my grandkids have been not confirmed. That's coming, and they were
Right.
baptized, obviously. So, but they're raised Catholic, and they go to church too. And so that's just that's there's no question. I mean, that's something that we just do, and we
So why is
believe in.
your faith now your faith is affecting your foundations? How is the faith affecting you to giving back? Why does it affect that?
Oh, I think, if if we're so fortunate to be in a position to help others, I think whether you have money or you don't have money, you still can help. You can do something. You can volunteer your services. You find time. You make time.
So what are your foundations that you have?
I have the Ferragamo Foundation. We've supported the Special Olympics uh, group here in Orange County, and we were one of the major fundraisers for the Orange County Special Olympics program. They had something like 3,500 kids
Wow.
in their program years ago, and we did 30 years of golf tournaments for them. So, and then 10 years thereafter, my wife, through our foundation, raised money for the Fountain Valley Medical Hospital there,
Mm.
Orange County Medical in Fountain Valley. And they named the wing in the breast cancer department. They named a wing after in the hospital, thanking the Ferragamo
Oh,
Foundation
that's
for their
great.
help. And so, but recognizing, victims and patients that were being treated for breast cancer and people who, be, got rid of the cancer, and then others that just, had an impact on
Mm.
people. So it was good. But I think the foundation has been a blessing to have and a way to give back. And to this day, we still do things in our community, try to help other organizations, the Ronald McDonald Home,
Mm.
child abuse.
Oh, wow.
Um, they there's a lot of charities out there that need help, and so if we're in a position to help, we still do it.
How long has this foundation been around?
Well, we did. The foundation started from probably after the third or fourth or the fifth year in our golf tournament. So we started the golf tournament in 1983. So it's been
Wow.
around since the late
Over
80s.
40 years.
Yeah,
Wow.
so we've had our foundation.
Wow. And so
Hmm.
when you are using your platform from NFL and your real estate, you're saying, I have to, what what was the turning point in your mind where you said, I got to do something more than what I'm doing right now? What was the impetus that brought you into bringing the foundation into being?
Well, I think at the time I was playing ball for the Rams in 1983, and a gentleman by the name of Ed Chevalier came to me, and his daughter was a needy little girl, and she was in the Special Olympics program, and he was helping out. And he said, Vince, would you mind helping out? And, let's do a golf tournament. Let's do an event that would sponsor our kids. And I didn't think much of it because I was actually at the Barbara Mandrell
Mm.
child help uh, softball game she
Right.
had in Nashville, Tennessee that weekend, right before our event. And he was planning it. And I said, okay, I'll help. And I go, oh, gee, I was telling Jay, I said, we got to get back to Orange County. I have a golf tournament to do for Special Olympics, coming up. So we made it back, and that was the first one.
Right.
And that was 1983. And then in 1985, our second annual or third annual. My daughter Vanessa was on the tee box. I can remember her, and she's putting balls. She's 2 years old, and she was there. And my girls grew up helping the Special Olympic special kids. We went to some events, and they would be volunteers to help out. So we did that. But Ed, it was a result of Ed Chevalier bringing me in touch with it when I was the quarterback for the Rams, and every offseason, and we got a bunch of the players, we got a bunch of celebrities to come out, and it was a celebrity invitational for golf tournament, but we did quite well with being able to raise money for the kids.
And then you created a foundation after that?
Yes, we started the Vince Ferragamo Celebrity Golf Classic in 1983, and it went maybe 5 or 6 years, and then there was an incident that happened on the golf course, and somebody was hit with a golf cart. It wasn't hurt bad. It was just an injury, and so I think to keep the people that were helping me, our organization, to keep us safe and to keep us protected, we wanted to start a foundation where we could provide the underwriting and the insurance that we would have in case something were to happen.
Right.
So we formed the foundation, and it was actually an easier way because the money because we had another incident that some bills were not paid.
Oh.
As you can see, financial situation. So I said, well, I don't know. I'm not in charge of the finances. We're just running the event. And so we said, well, we might as well take that in and we'll control it. We'll pay the bills and we'll write the checks to the charities. And that's how we formed the foundation, which was a great idea.
Yeah.
Because we're responsible. We want to make sure everybody, we don't want to have any people bad talking the foundation. Say these guys don't pay their bills.
Right.
I mean, you got to pay everybody.
Especially with the last name Ferragamo.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So yeah, we took it on, and it worked out actually really well because we were able to help other organizations as well. Being a foundation.
Great. So with your flag football organization, I can kind of see how the Holy Spirit's working through you, because now your flag football program is preparing future Olympians to be Olympians in flag football. How does that make you feel?
It makes me feel great because, it's a future Olympic sport. In 2028, here in Los Angeles, flag football will be an Olympic sport. And we're starting it now, flag football. But flag football has been around for years, but now it's becoming more popular all the time. And I think through our efforts to help build and make this a great game for young kids, they will continue to play it as they grow older.
Why do you think flag football is helpful for kids to play?
Well, that's a good question because I played flag football when I was a youngster. I was always too heavy to play tackle football because they had a weight requirement for age groups. But so I think there's a lot of benefits to flag football. But at Santiago Canyon College, where I live in Orange County, the chancellor came to me and wanted to do something in the community. And they wanted to start a football program because they're going to offer women's collegiate flag football program. And so I said, sure, I'll help. I'll help do something in the community. So I got Jackie Slater, who's Hall of Famer, 20-year NFL legend,
right?
To be my commissioner. And I got Ivory Stelly, who played with me in the Super Bowl, and Leroy Irvin, and, Mike Alexander, D. Warren, guys that have played in the NFL. And I made them directors.
Yeah.
And so let's run this thing.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of interest for flag football. There's 5,000 kids in just Orange County playing flag football, boys and girls. And I said, yeah, okay, we'll do one here in Orange. And, we'll just, we'll try to do it the top of the line and try to make it really good and fun for the kids. And but it's a community event. It's bringing the community together. And that's what the school wanted. So that's how we started it. And, I think it'll work out pretty well. I think it'll be fun for the kids.
Well, maybe I'll come by and give a blessing to all your kids at one of your games. Well,
that would be great.
That'd be a lot of
That would
fun.
be great, Father Darrin.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
You have to do that. Thank you.
Now, as you live your Catholic faith now, I see how your Catholic faith is kind of like helping you to change the world that's around you.
Mm-hmm.
Not globally, but at least it's right here. What are you doing now for a spiritual life? What are your things you're doing spiritually now to kind of give you fuel for this faith of fire, if you will?
It's good. Prayer is what I do.
Do you pray rosary, or do you spend time in front of the Blessed Sacrament? What's your?
I like to pray in the evenings before I go to bed.
Yeah, that's good.
and that's my prayer. And I pray for everyone
Do you ever
for the
pray for somebody for a miracle? I'm praying for this person to be healed. And has that ever happened where you pray for somebody's healing and it happened?
I don't know if any miracles have happened there, but I've prayed for, a lot of people. I mean, but it's more of a generalized prayer
Mm,
at night. And so it gives me, that's my motivation,
mm,
so I believe I put my trust in God, and I put
mm,
my trust in the Lord, and with prayer, and because I think it's powerful.
mm.
And we should probably spend a little bit more time doing that.
Do,
Sometimes in solitude.
right.
You don't have to go out and
Because
do it in front of people. You just
you're
do
an
it.
introvert, so you like that quiet
Yes,
time.
I do.
Yeah.
I do. It helps.
On the marriage encounter.
Yes, and we went to St. Jean's, actually.
Oh, okay.
We were over there, and it was fantastic. It was time to write letters to your future spouse. And it's a good encounter because it brings everything out in the open.
Right.
And it's like, hey, are you really willing to sacrifice? You know what's going to happen here.
Right.
I mean, it's not just you; it's two people now.
Right.
And so I think it's very beneficial, and it's long lasting.
So do you like the way the Catholic Church does its wedding preparation or marriage preparation? Did you like it? Do you have a good positive
I do,
experience?
because I think being married in the Catholic Church too is a blessing, because it's people get married so quick, and
Hmm.
they just fly by night thing.
Right.
I think to go, and I've always thought this, Father Darrin, is that when I pick a church to walk down the aisle, I want to pick the church with the longest aisle I could find, because it's my last walk with my daughter before she gets married.
Wow.
So we did that, and it was fun. And I told all the bridesmaids when they walk, you take your time when you walk. Don't walk real fast, because this is the most important part. So walk slow when you come down. If it takes a while to get to it's fine. So, and then we're actually at the end, because
Right.
prolonging it.
Right.
But
So you've done it twice now?
I've done it. Yes. Yeah. Right, exactly. Only two. Well, one's still at home. But it's just more meaningful. It's a great memory
Hmm.
that I'll never forget. Even the reception was a lot of fun, very spiritually done. At the Turnip Rose, we had our event, and
Hmm.
it was really beautiful, the whole thing. My wife is a great party planner. She's a great planner. And so it was, everything was done to perfection. But it was something you always remember.
Right.
And but it's one time.
Right.
You do this once.
Anything spiritual happened to you while you were at your daughter's weddings?
Yeah, praying every night that my speech is going to be right on point, because it's like in practice, practice makes perfect.
Right.
And I had to speak in Spanish, because Javier Gutierrez is my wife's husband, and he was from Guadalajara.
Oh, God.
So I had to address,
Right.
some of our people that were at the wedding. They speak Spanish, and a lot of them are bilingual, but some aren't.
Oh, wow.
So I had to speak Spanish. So in Spanish.
With not with an American accent though, right?
No,
Oh,
no, español. Mucho, mucho. Yeah, I can't remember what I said at this point, but it went on for a while.
So you speak Spanish?
Un poquito.
Oh, yeah.
Un poquito,
Yo
señor.
también.
Yeah, yeah. I speak un po' italiano, sí.
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 Mangiato solamente
Oh,
italiano.
oh, yeah, sí.
So where were the churches that your daughters got married at? They had the very long.
It was down in Newport Beach. We're close to the Turnip Rose.
Oh, there's John the Baptist.
I can't remember.
My gosh, I can't think. Oh, there's Joachim.
Yes,
Yeah, St. Joachim.
that's it. That's it.
Come on, they got to be impressed. With
Yeah,
that one.
right. That was
pretty
it.
good, huh?
Yeah, it was
So-
good. That was good.
So Vince, I noticed that you love giving through your foundations, and that's kind of been a source of like how Christ would give to his people. Now, it seems to me that your daughters are kind of emulating you. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, when my kids were growing up, they were involved in sports too, and I think they want to follow the background that they've had, the upbringing, and it's carrying on the tradition. And a lot of the kids would say to, like Vanessa, say, "Oh, your dad's the quarterback, right? And your dad, oh, you're that." She didn't really care that much about that. She didn't dwell on it. I mean, although she respected, she respected me and she respected her mom, obviously. Her mom had more influence on her than I did, can be honest. And she wasn't a professional athlete. So that kind of shows you. But I think the kids, when they grow up, they look back, because I look back at my parents and I thank them for what they gave me and I tried to make them proud. But when they grow up, they're going to have the same influence on their kids. And if you have a strong belief, then it just makes it more powerful for them to teach their kids, and their kids will teach their kids.
Right.
So it carries on because we're only here for a short time. And then, our legacy is what we leave behind.
Right.
And hopefully they will continue to give back like I did. And I know my daughters would. They have that,
Do you think your your parents' examples to you, and you
Mhm.
passing it on to your daughters, do you see that actually being reciprocated, happening again? Do you see it happening again?
It does, because I'll tell you one last story about my dad. My dad was the president of the UAW local union at Ford Motor Company in Pico Rivera. And he had an 8th grade education, but he was a good leader and he's a leader of men. And there's a lot of things that he did. And as the president, he had encounters with other guys that he had to take care of business with off the premises that he did. Also, he was the president that they did an annual Christmas party it was at the Ronald Reagan Theater.
Hmm.
And all the kids that came that worked were employees of Ford Motor Company. They brought their children to see this theater, and after the theater, they'd come out and left with a toy. Well, my dad told me this was a great thing to learn. At an early age, I must have been 8 or 9, I left with many times with toys. He said, go through the line, go put it in our station wagon. Go. I was going, wow, this is going to be so awesome. What a great Christmas. We loaded the back with toys. Okay. Everybody left with one toy. I left with probably, I would say, close to 50 of them.
Wow.
Okay. When we got home, we drove into the house. He says, before we parked the car, he says, okay, take one toy. And you take it in. I go, wait, one toy? What? Dad, there's a bunch. He used to take one. The other toys, we're going to give it to the kids that don't have anything for Christmas. That stuck. That was very powerful for me. And it's something I always learned. I said, you never need to take more than you need. Take what you need and help someone else. So that's what I learned that, but that was from my dad. And hopefully any of the good that I did for other kids will pass on to my girls and they will be able to do the same.
Do your daughters know that story?
I don't know. Maybe if they watch this video.
But through your actions, you do that.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, your buddy Joe told me that's that you give from the heart.
Yeah, Joe's a great guy. Joe DeSantis, the DeSantis family, and they're all so philanthropic. They've supported, and I have to say, all the years that I did events, I had a lot of giving friends that would always support our event, either financially or just donating their time or donating things that they would have that would help somebody else. I was very fortunate because I knew a lot of good people, and I think those are the people I still hang around with today.
Yeah. Well, in season 1, we interviewed Sir Bruno Serrato, who owns who does the pasta for.
Oh yes.
The pasta program. He feeds 5,000 kids a day, and so I see a theme of my fellow paisanos helping their community.
Yeah.
And so that's a great story that your dad knew. And you were, as we're all kids, right? We're always selfish, right? Yeah. And you realize, like, oh, that make me unselfish from now on because of that experience.
And I have to say one more thing, Father Darrin, too, is that, our Ferragamo Flag Football League, we have these directors that I mentioned to you, Jackie Slater, Dee Warren, Mike Alexander, Conrad Gallegos, and Ivory Sally. They come over to the house for dinner. We have meetings once a week. We don't really accomplish much, but my wife is a great cook, Sicilian cook, good Italian cook.
I'm
So
coming.
we'll either
I'm
have,
coming.
yeah, we have penne pasta with bolognese sauce. She makes an
Oh,
apple pie, and then we have the salad ensalada, and then I give them a little of the Ferragamo, Tenuta Ferragamo wine, the Caressa J, and we just have a great time. But it's pretty much just about sitting around the table, having dinner, talking a little bit of football, and how are we going to do this league? How are we going to make it really good for the kids? And hopefully that expression will parlay onto the football field. Yeah, so it's a lot of fun.
that's great. You know, Vince, I can't thank you enough for being on the program for the Hound of Heaven. We're really excited to have you here. We wish God's blessings to you and your family and your foundation, all the great work that you're doing. We see how God's working through you, through the generosity that not only your dad showed you,
Yeah.
but you're showing to your foundations and to your kids. So
Thank you,
thank you,
Father.
Vince. God
Thank
bless.
you.
That's a great
Thank you
experience.
so much.
That was great. Thank you.